Hi, this is Ann Kennedy from SES New York 2013, and I'm standing here with John Shehata from ABC News and Malcolm Macdonald from Expedia. And they just finished a panel for us on Enterprise SEO tactics, which is truly a big job. So I'm going to start with you, Martin. You said something about the two biggest problems, the two biggest issues, and one of them involved a very hairy beast. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So enterprise SEO is exactly the same as any other kind of SEO, but the two primary differences are you're dealing with that 800-pound gorilla, which is a website that might have 10 million or 50 million pages, and therefore the problems that you have in normal SEO are just magnified to a huge scale. So kind of the tool set that you need to apply to it is very, very different. That's one of the main challenges. The other challenge that no one really talks about, but it's something that everyone that moves into enterprise SEO has to deal with, is dealing with a board of directors, multiple stakeholders in every part of the site, and just kind of the internal politics and the diplomacy that you need to deal with in these large companies to actually get stuff done. Now, that's 80% of the battle sometimes, because the actual stuff that you're doing might not be that complicated, but actually getting the funding, getting the buy-in from C-level executives to actually do things is very, very difficult from time to time. So that was kind of the focus that I had in my talk, and it's something that after years of doing it, I like to think I've become quite good at, but it's still a challenge a lot of the time.
And how many years have you been doing enterprise SEO?
I'll be on about 7 or 8 years now of doing strictly enterprise SEO, but I've been working in online marketing since before the term SEO existed, since 96, 97, with only a small break to work in an offline media agency. So kind of I've been doing this my entire career, and I think the beautiful thing about SEO is how strategically, things have remained the same for, say, the last 10, 12, 14 years, but every single day the requirements are different, the challenges are different, and you never know what's around the corner and what's going to happen the following day. So that's why I love it.
Well, I want to get back to what's around the corner, but first let's ask John, you had a plan, 6-step plan. Can you run down the top 6 things you need to do?
Sure, absolutely. So as Martin mentioned, SEO is the same, small sites, big sites. So when you reach a big site and you need to start working on it, there are a few things that you need to go. You need to build your own process. One of the most important things is you start with the discovery phase. You need to understand the different departments, the different tools that the company has, what type of CMS. You will be surprised most of the companies don't have WordPress, for example. You need to understand how to work with legal, the design, the IT. You need to understand the competitive space around you, what other sites that compete for your terms. So you move from discovery to the next phase, which is to inform and train. I would consider this to be 30 to 40% of our job, is to tell others, to educate them about the benefits of SEO, the visibility, the branding, how to get our product, the content that people are searching for into the search out there. And you tailor your presentation. The way you talk to C-level is different from the way you talk to the IT department and the technology folks and the editorial guys. Then you move from inform to small wins, or quick wins, I call them. So what are the projects that you can get with a low amount of effort that will do big impact on the site? So can you do a massive change for page titles? Can you do template optimization that will change millions of pages on the site? These kind of small, low effort can get you in a very good shape very quickly. Then you start focusing on a bigger projects. Okay, we have a lot of videos that has no text. Can we do video optimization? We are nowhere to find in mobile search. Can we do mobile SEO? We don't have rich snippets. We don't have micro formats and so on. So these kind of bigger projects. We don't have an editorial calendar. So there are bigger projects that you can take on. And then you move into analysis and reporting, right? You need to track all the changes that you did. You need to report on them. You need to analyze them and see which ones are working. And then you start back again to the inform and you repeat the cycle.
That's great. So talking about what's coming down the pike now with new changes in SEO, we know it's a brave new world since Panda and Penguin. Can you tell me about things like author tagging and schema.org? You mentioned rich snippets. You want to talk about how you use those on your big enterprise sites?
John. I'll leave the rich snippets to John because he was talking about that. But certainly, as far as the future of SEO is concerned, and it's intertwined with the future of the internet. And if you look at again the past history of the last 15 years, the major difference that we're seeing is how rich things are getting now because of the increased bandwidth that we've all got available to us. Now, if you look at the Panda update, for instance, where we're essentially removing the 25,000 affiliates that have all got the same content, we're replacing them with much more content-rich websites. So that kind of is the future of where we all have to be starting to look at now, is how to actually produce compelling video, how to produce a compelling experience that people will come back to and people will share, how to create a community around our websites. It's all of these things that we haven't really needed to look at that much for the last decade because we've been able to put up some let's be fair, half-assed content in a lot of cases and throw some links at it and it's worked. That's not the world that we live in anymore. This is a maturing market, and as marketers we need to mature, but also as brands we need to mature. We need to really start pushing this moving forward into the next level. The companies that get that, they will thrive. The companies that think they can get away with just having those old product descriptions and 20 words of text on a page and hoping that they're going to maintain a market share, those guys aren't going anywhere. So kind of that's a big part of my job is teaching people that we need to really start developing and maturing as a market now.
So it sounds to me like you're saying content is king once again.
I argue that content never was king. It is certainly coming to the forefront more these days. So yes, you used to be able to get anything to rank just on the strength of the links pointing at it. Whilst in certain cases you can still rank very well just off a very large weight of backlinks, it's becoming increasingly difficult. And I genuinely think that, if you ask me this question again in 2 years' time, I will then finally be saying that, the content that you've got on your website is the cornerstone. Now, I'm not saying that SEO is going to become content marketing. There is always going to be a place for the technical side of it. There's always going to be a place for how crawlers interpret your site. There is always going to be that level of SEO. But content now isn't a nice thing to have, it's a must-have.
So, John, obviously content is a very big deal at ABC. You're all about content. Yeah. But tell me some of the technical aspects of it, such as the rich snippets and the schema and author tagging.
So the way you look at Google, right, we started with the 10 blue links, right? So boring, and Google now then moved to like invisible tabs. Users can search for photos, videos, and so on. And then they moved to universal search, where they can get results from all the different verticals into one place. Now, we need to understand usability, that eyes move from a high contrast to low contrast. So when people see an image next to your result in Google, even if it's number 3, guess what? They see it first before result number 1. So we need to keep this in mind. Now, there are so many opportunities every company has to have better presence in Google, where users can find them first into a page of links. One, do you have music? Do you have videos? Do you have recipes? Do you have events? There are so many things that you can develop. But you can start with the simplest form of rich snippets. You have breadcrumbs. Probably you should have. Google will give you additional links into the SERP, so you increase your real estate. So these kind of small things. You need to pay attention to the different formats that Google supports, MRSS feeds, Google XML sitemaps, video objects, all these different things. And most of them are simple implementations that can get you much better presence and visibility in search. The one thing I would add also around the corner kind of things, I think verified content is the name of the game in the next couple of years. There is so much content out there, and Google recognized this, right? They're overwhelmed with content. And Eric Schmidt, few weeks ago or a month ago, he said Google will pay more emphasis in content that they can authorize or verify. So having a Google Plus and having rel equals author on the site and starting to have authors promote their content on social media, and the integration between SEO and social is very important. And mobile also is very important. We keep hearing that every year this is the year of mobile. I can tell you now we are at mobile, and mobile consumption will exceed desktop consumption. So when you think about us as SEOs, it's always about the content. It doesn't matter what medium we're working on. If it's a desktop today, mobile tomorrow, and who knows what we're going to be working in holograms of I don't know. But it's all about the content. So this is what we should be focusing on.
You heard it here first from ABC. Holograms is what's next. Thank you, guys. It was a great presentation, and you really summed up a lot of good information for our viewers. This is Ann Kennedy at SES New York saying goodbye.
Goodbye.